What's up, guys? It's Miranda Alcaraz here, and this is episode number 31 of the More Than Nothing podcast. Although I don't know how it's only 31 because I feel like we started More Than Nothing before I was pregnant, and I'm 37 weeks pregnant. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. We missed like a couple weeks here and there. But here we are in my home again. Last week, if you watched this, I was at like a folding table in the same room. And this week I was finally able to get some furniture in here. My house is a home again, which is, couldn't have asked for a better time, both with this stay home order. So if you're listening to this in a year from now or 2 years from now, it is on the day that we're recording this. It's April 3rd of 2020, and we're in the middle of this coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, where literally 90% of the country is being asked to stay home. Businesses are closed. It's chaos and it's scary and for multiple reasons, and it's sad and it's just weird. And, it definitely has affected me in different ways than I would say most people. But it also hasn't affected me in the ways that it has affected a lot of people as well. Because there are some certain things that people are worried about that I don't have to worry about. So, but I don't necessarily have like a specific lineup or topic this week. It's just kind of talking about where my mind's at with being in the middle of this thing at 37 weeks pregnant, and where a lot of other people are at. And there's just a lot of things to be afraid of right now, I think, and a lot of things to worry about. And if you're anything like me, you will create the most awful scenario in your mind and see it like you're watching a movie happen. That's kind of how my mind works. And I always go to like the worst possible case scenario and then just like build and build and build. And then I'm convinced that that is what's going to happen. That's my go-to. And I've gotten a lot better as I've gotten older of controlling that. My dad is definitely the same way, and that's where I get it. But I think a lot of people are in that mode, and there are just some things that I think we could all think about regardless of what those fears are. So my personal fears, my biggest fear in this whole thing is having my baby taken away from me for a week to 2 weeks after he's born, because I personally have tested positive for coronavirus, or I'm showing symptoms, because in a lot of places that's what's happening. I'm not super concerned with myself getting super sick and like dying, although it's a possibility for anyone to get really, really sick. What's we've seen is that it's mostly older people or people with pre-existing conditions, which I don't have. I'm very healthy. So I don't have that personal fear, but maybe many of you guys do that are listening, and that's completely understandable. My fear is more about this birth that's going to happen sometime within the next 2 to 4 weeks, roughly. And having my baby that, I know so much about the importance of that time. And so that's my fear. A lot of you guys also probably have fears about money stuff right now. So there's like this two-sided thing, and I'm not political, by the way, and I don't really read a lot of the news. I try to stay away from it because, again, I will create the worst possible case scenario in my mind. And so I've got to kind of like keep my distance. But there's like two sides, right? Where it's like stay home and everyone's like, yeah, we all got to stay home. But then that's been like in California, I think they're on their third week. Here we're finishing off our second week of businesses being closed. And now it's just like millions of people have lost their jobs. And, we have a pretty big member base for street parking, and we're hearing already from like a lot of them that they've been like laid off. So it's like, yes, we got to stay home and keep everybody healthy, but now people are running out of money and they're worried about their livelihood and how they're going to take care of their kids and all of this stuff. It's there's a lot of fear to go around and a lot of stuff that's completely out of our control. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, is how I've personally had to remember that I can only control what I can control, and really remember what those things are, and try as best as possible not to get sucked into the things that I can't control. The number one thing that has made a difference for me that I can control is how much of the news and stuff like that I take in. So I think because we're all home and a lot of people are not working, they have a lot of free time to go on social media or on the Googles, and they're just reading everything the news has to say. And of course, it's like watching a movie. It's like watching Independence Day or like some Will Smith, like it's action packed what's going on out there. It's like, you see these like images of like the craziness in New York or Italy or whatever, and it draws you in. It's drama in its like purest form, and I totally get it. But then of course you realize that it's not a movie, it's real, and that a lot of it is completely out of your control, and how it's spreading and how it's growing. And yes, you can control your contribution to it, but you can't control anybody else and what they're doing and how they're out and about, or how, this state's dealing with it or that area's dealing with it, and how it's, my parents, my entire family actually lives in a place where we are in Washington. And I know Washington has been like crowned one of the like places that this all started in the US. But where we live in Washington, the cases are actually pretty low. We're in southern Washington and we're near Portland, which the cases are also low there. My whole family lives in Salt Lake City, Utah. And when it started, I was talking to them about like, oh my gosh, like we're in the worst place. And now it's gotten way worse where they are than where we are. So it's easy for me to go down the path of like being terrified for my whole family. I have 4 brothers, 1 sister. My parents are all in Utah. I have a couple nieces and nephews, and my parents are both like almost 70 years old. And it's real, of course I'm checking in on them, encouraging them to stay home, they're not as healthy as I am, most of my family. So I do have worries and concerns about them, but at the end of the day, I can't control it. I can't control everything they do. I can try to like encourage it, but I can't control it. I can't control what's happening in their area. I can only control that I'm home and that I'm only around the people that I absolutely need to be around and everything. But I can also control my paranoia with it. And for me personally, if I go too deep into reading stuff, and I have done it a few times, I'm guilty, it will send me down a dark path that I think many, many of us have gone down. And then we just start going a little crazy. So what I want you guys to do this week actually is to like make some lists of like, okay, during this time, whether your fears are about getting sick or about your job or about your family or about whatever, and it might be all of those things for many people, write down what you can control in this situation and what you can't. And really keep that list of what you can control in the forefront of your mind. And we're gonna try to focus on those things as much as possible. I did a post, I have a page that I post on sometimes on Instagram for, they're like family posts called Adventures of Alcaraz. And I posted this picture because we took Knox, my 2.5-year-old, to a, like this random field in the middle of nowhere that has horses that I drive past when I go to my chiropractor for pregnancy. And it's like, there's no really, there's a few houses around, but there's no other people. So it's like, very quarantine friendly, safe. And I posted a picture of us with him there. And the caption was something along the lines of, he's not going to remember this. He's definitely going to hear about it. He's definitely going to have us tell like stories about it. But he has no idea that anything has changed and what's going on. And I've read, some articles and some things about how important it is for us as parents to lead by example right now, because we are teaching our children how to respond to these types of situations. And are they going to be terrified forever for the rest of their life? And have this like stress response of going straight to the worst case scenario and reading all the news, and that's all mom and dad are talking about, and mom's just on her phone all day long reading about it and talking to her friends about it, and they feel that whether or not you involve them in the conversation, they hear it, and whether or not they understand what you're saying, they feel how you're acting about it. So you can control that. You can control the message that you're giving to your kids, and you can control their experience for the next, week, 2 weeks, a month. We don't know really how long. But for right now, I know that Knox has no idea that anything is different other than that he can't go to the park. But also our park was under construction a little while ago. So there was that, like, he doesn't know that it's scary or dangerous. Like, we're not telling him like, no, that's scary. Or when we have him wash his hands, we're not, trying to make him all terrified about it or anything like that. We do have control over the message that we're giving to our kids if we're parents. We have control of like how we're dealing with it ourselves too. So last week I talked about I think it was last week, maybe it was the week before, the idea of like patience versus perseverance. And if we're just like sitting around waiting for someone to save us, like, when's the government going to save me? When's this vaccine going to save me? Like, you kind of got to say, no one's coming to save me. So I might lose my job. What can I do to prepare for that? Most people, like if you're in a career where it's always going to require you to go to an office, you might not be able to do too much about it right now. That's out of your control. But how you're thinking about it, how you're growing as an individual, whether it's like motivational type stuff or learning something new, or I don't know, you've always wanted to like start an Etsy shop. I bought some stuff off Etsy this week, I'll tell you that. If you have free time and you're not working at all, like start to explore some of those things that you're passionate about and that you love, and that even if they never make you a single dollar, bring you joy and make you just a better person. Because eventually, I promise you this, eventually we're gonna have to open some businesses again. And there will be some jobs that will need to be filled. And the people who I feel that are in the best place mentally and emotionally are gonna do much better once that all happens. And we had a member reach out to us, or he didn't reach out to us, he just mentioned that he had lost his job, and even though it's only been a couple weeks, him and his wife were moving to a smaller like apartment or something like that. And he's in a house now, and it's like, oh man, like that's gonna be happening a lot, and that might be out of your control, but you just kind of got to go with it and do your best with it and roll with it. And, I'm on the like eve of giving labor here in the next couple weeks. And one thing that Julian said to me when I was in labor last time, because there was a point when I was in labor with Knox where I said to him, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't, like, I don't think I was necessarily like asking to go to the hospital because we were at a birth center and I had no drugs, but I just kept saying, I can't do this. I can't do this. And what he kept saying to me is, it's just today. Like, this is temporary. He kept reminding me that it's temporary. And the hard thing then, and the hard thing for people now, is we know that a lot of this is temporary, but especially when it comes to the like stay home thing, but we also don't know how long it's going to last. And I think I felt that way in my labor. It's like, I get that, but I also have no control over how long this is going to last. I know it's temporary, but I also don't know when the end is. And I think a lot of us maybe feel that way. And so you just have to take it one day at a time and control the things that you can control. Some other things that you can control are how you're treating yourself during this time. So, hey, if you normally have like not been getting much sleep because you work crazy shifts, or you're always up at like 5 a.m. because you have to work out before you go to work, or because you have like a 2-hour commute. If that has changed for you, take advantage of this time to take care of yourself. Get some more sleep. Eat better than you were eating before. None of us are eating out. Well, that's not true. I think a lot of people are eating out a lot. They're just ordering food to pick up or take out. Learn how to cook. Like, learn how to take meal prep for yourself. Learn how to take better care of yourself. If there's anything that we've learned from the sickness side of this whole thing, it's that the people who are healthier are doing better in general. And obviously that just makes sense. That's always going to be true for whatever the scenario is, whatever comes up. The healthier and stronger you are, the better you're going to fare. So if you haven't been taking care of yourself, if you haven't been getting enough sleep, if you've been eating garbage, you have the free time now to do something about it. And again, set that example for your kids. I think there are people that are going to emerge from this thing with some really great habits, and honestly, maybe a little bit refreshed from like a forced vacation almost. And there are people that are going to emerge with really bad habits and really a lot of laziness and really, so you have control over which one of those paths you're going to take. I can't imagine. So my child is only 2.5 and I still have help with him because Julian's mom, his nanny, lives like a mile away, and we're still working. We're just working from home. So our hours haven't changed or anything like that. I can't imagine those of you with like 3-4 kids who have no help and you're trying to work from home, or even if you're not, it's exhausting. But when else are you going to get this much time, dedicated time with your kids? Like, that's amazing. And you're going to look back one day and either be like, I'm so glad that I got all that time with my kids and we had the quarantine memories are so awesome. Or you could be annoyed about it the whole time and just trying to like getting them to leave you alone the whole time and not take this opportunity to make those memories and, do those fun things. And I mean, especially if you have like older kids where they know they can't go hang out with their friends because, once you hit a certain age, you're not trying to hang out with mom and dad. That's super special. Most parents will never get that amount of time with their like teenage kids and stuff like that. So take advantage of getting to know them as people and encouraging them to like learn stuff or read stuff or listen to podcasts or whatever. Have them work out with you. Have them learn how to cook. I mean, there's so much that we can control. But what happens is we go down the path of getting sucked into the news. And it can take you, all of a sudden it's been 3 hours of you like researching, click after click after click to find out what's going on or what's going to happen or what does this politician say or that doctor say or what's happening in this country or that state or whatever. And you've wasted your whole day and you're panicked and you feel so helpless that you just want to like curl up in a little ball. And I get it because I'm that way if I let myself get sucked into it. So that's it. I just want you guys to write down a list of what you can control and what you can't, and try to really limit any time, energy, or effort on worrying about what you cannot control. And the last thing that I'll say is there's going to be a lot of people who need help, and a lot of us are going to be in a position where we want to help people. And I think that's really important. But it can be overwhelming also. So many people need help and so many people are sick or hurting or have lost jobs that even just thinking about that, even if you're in a position where none of that is true for you, it can be really overwhelming to be like, man, I want to help. Like, I don't even know where to start. And so you're just like, I feel helpless. Like I don't have enough to give. Give something. This is like the more than nothing takeaway today. Most people don't have just like hundreds of thousands of dollars they can like donate to the hospitals or the skills to like start sewing masks or anything like that. But you can do something. So something small, something that I was thinking about even is, I've gone through all of Knox's clothes And I mean, baby B is another little boy. So, you know, naturally, like I'm just going to recycle most of those. But there are some of them where I look at it and I'm like, I know I'm not going to put this on baby B. Like Knox wore it a bunch of times and like, or whatever, like it's not going to be the right season for it. And I planned on keeping all of that stuff, but I try to be more realistic with it. And I pulled anything where I was like, realistically, I'm not going to put this on baby B. It's going to be too warm or too cold or whatever. And I'm going to donate all that stuff because I know that a lot of people are going to need help with that soon. Same thing with my own personal clothes. Like if you don't have any money to donate, go through your closet, pull out anything you haven't worn in the last couple months, take that somewhere to donate it. People are going to need that stuff. They need it always. I mean, but soon with people losing their jobs and stuff like that, any type of just little thing that you can do to help, is so important. And then I think the biggest thing a lot of us can do to help is to be a positive influence to the people who are around us, whether it's in person, which those groups are small. It's your immediate family pretty much, or your friends that you're talking to on the phone or on Zoom calls or whatever. Be a positive influence. And on social media too, like try not to push the fear. And I know it's hard because, I've personally done it. Like I've had some like super like angry moments about like, why aren't they talking more about this? Or why aren't they like telling people to do this or that? And everybody feels it because we all have our opinions about what should happen or what we feel. It's just, I personally don't think that it's helpful. I think what is helpful is reminding people like, hey, I saw something really cool. And this is not true for everyone, but for most of us it is, where it's not you're stuck at home, you're safe at home. So like if you have a home to be in and even like a family to be around, or even if you have friends that you're talking to, you have everything you need, at least, you know, for now. So try not to make matters worse by increasing the fear and the anxiety that everybody's having. You know, one of our members, super well-meaning, but this is an example of maybe not helpful that I'm talking about. She messaged me saying they're canceling all home births here where I live. She lives in a different country. She's like, I hope that doesn't happen to you. And I was like, why would you tell me that? Like now I'm researching like, are they going to cancel home births? And it's like this panic thing. And she totally cares about me and loves me. And I know it. So if you're listening, I'm not going to say who it was. But yeah, spreading that fear and everything is not the best way that we can spend our time. Being there for people who need to talk, and then unloading stuff. Like I unloaded, don't hold it all in. Find somebody that you can unload your stuff to. Maybe not social media, but like I was having those fears about baby B being taken away from me for a week to 2 weeks if I, you know, was showing symptoms or whatever. And it was like really like eating at me and weighing on my heart. And just like, I could tell I was snappy. I was like yelling at the dogs. I was like really short. And I just had to tell Julian finally, like I just unloaded it all. And then I told him I don't want to talk about it anymore. I just needed to like say that. And then that's it. I don't want to keep talking about it. I don't want to keep researching it. So if you can find someone to be that person for you, maybe not the masses, but someone, I think that's really important as well, so that we don't get stuck in a place that's not great if we do find ourselves there. So make those lists, take care of yourselves. Obviously do your best to stay home and follow the directions, and take this time to remember what it is you're passionate about. Many people, they hate their jobs and they weren't happy in what they were doing before. So what a unique opportunity to figure out, you know, if everything did go back to normal tomorrow, would you even want it to? And what could you be doing different in your life? And what habits can you pick up right now when you have more time? And enjoy this time with your family if you're with them, and just learn and try to grow as a human during this unique, weird time. Also wanted to say that we're playing it by ear right now, but I am 37 weeks pregnant. by the time we film or are set to film next week's More Than Nothing, I will be 38 weeks pregnant. So I cannot guarantee you will get an episode next week. At some point, I'm going to take like a 5 or 6 week little break, but we will either have some guests for you guys that I will pick and give some topics to, or just let them ramble about what More Than Nothing means to them. Or we'll do some highlights from previous episodes. There are 31, right, Salvi? 31 of them now. If you haven't listened to all of them, take some time to listen to those. And yeah, we'll keep you guys updated on all of that, but try to stay in control and stay safe out there. We'll see you guys next time.